Hey, I'm Dr. Uche Odiatu. I live in Toronto, born in England. I'm a practicing dentist, certified as a personal trainer in the National Strength and Conditioning Association, the Canadian Association of Fitness Professionals. I'm a professional member of a College of Sports Medicine, and my passion is health and wellness. I practice still Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday up here in Toronto. I'm all about that chairside conversation. I really believe that patients are craving a healthcare provider that looks at them from head to toe. They're tired of people compartmentalizing who they are and pigeoning the whole into gingiva and you need crowns. There's much more to it. Very little marketing has to be done once you start looking at wellness. But that whole fitness conversation is not what I'm going to focus on tonight as much as you. You see, people don't realize that when you start taking better care of yourself, every other aspect of your life changes. It's not just looking lean. It's not just looking great for your high school reunion. It's being able to see yourself as reverent. I want to see it. I want you to treat your body with more reverence. And how did I get so excited about wellness? How did I get more so excited about nutrition? It all started back in England. My mom fed us cod liver oil, but she was a big fan of talking about why. It wasn't just eat it because mom said, eat it because I told you it was good for you. If you want a good brain, she said fish oil was good for your brain. To this day, I have cod liver oil in. I've lectured now in almost 7 or 8 countries, about 500 to 600 lectures. I was in Norway, and I was there in the wintertime. And I said, how do you get your vitamin D? Because, when the nights are long, when the days are short, people often have seasonal affective disorder and low mood, and they gain weight, and they become insulin resistant. They said we do cod liver oil. So I bought wild Norwegian cod liver oil, and I have about a tablespoon every day. It gives me about 800 international units. So I'm a big fan of saying why. My mom was a great reframer. She would often talk about, here's what to do, but here's why. My dad, he believed in that whole Greek idea of a sound mind and a sound body. What use is it doing homework if your body can't walk you around? So many times when you're growing up, he said, you've studied all day, go outside and play. So I love that about him. And they've both since passed away, both really shy people. But I really believe, though, they're with me. Even when I'm on stage or talking or sharing, they would never talk publicly. Never went to university. But my mom was a hilarious, funny lady, born in Ireland, from Dublin. My dad, Nigerian. And I always joke around, has anyone ever met before an Irish Nigerian? How about an African leprechaun? Okay, you should see me on St. Patrick's Day. You should see my lucky charms. Okay, so that being said, you can see I take myself lightly, but I take my subject matter really seriously. Literally, I've woven fitness into every conversation, and not in a judgmental way. When I was 18, 19, 20, sure, I was telling friends they shouldn't be eating that. But now that I've gotten smarter, more evolved, been through one marriage, I've got some skin in the game. I realize now I will only help people who come out and ask me. I am not there to volunteer my opinion on a plane or, hey, why are you ordering that? Hey, the last thing you should be eating is honey roasted pretzels, sir. I do not care unless they're a patient of mine, unless they're a good friend, unless they reach out. So Dr. Mariana has reached out and she wanted more information. So I said, hey, I'm here for you. So I'm going to record my 4 pillars. And my 4 pillars are, in case you go to the bathroom, sleep, managing stress, exercise, and good nutrition. Sleep, managing stress, exercise, and good nutrition. I will start with sleep because most people, when they want to get in shape, they start right away, go to nutrition. Right away, they want to say, do I cut out fruit? Meanwhile, fruit is not fattening. Fruit is not America's problem. It's the processed foods. Fruit is completely fine. There's a huge study with 488 researchers from 50 countries, 300 institutions that showed how not eating fruit leads to and supports 3 to 4 million people dying worldwide every year because fruit is full of antioxidants. It helps protect your DNA. It helps you more insulin sensitive. It lowers inflammation in your body. And if you think bananas or blueberries or cherries are bad for you, think again. That skin is full of fiber. Your fiber is something that your microbiome wants. The bacteria, the single-celled organisms that call you home, need fiber. It's their one primitive, foundational relationship with you. This is long since before the 60s. We're talking hundreds of thousands of years. Cavemen and cavewomen. Our physiology is more caveman and cavewoman than a modern 2024 adult. Believe me, it takes 100,000 years for the human genome to change, less than 1%. So we are more cavemen and cavewomen than you've been led to believe. That anger, that who honked the horn behind me? that elicits that amygdala, that primitive brain attack mode. And that's why stress is so bad, because the minute you go into anger, and there's no dimmer switch on stress. When you go into anger, your immune system goes on hold. Your body says, who cares about your meniscus? Who cares about those cells growing in your breast? Who cares about your sagging skin? Who needs to heal it when you're angry? Because in the caveman days, it was all or nothing. There was a full-on fight. Every time you were upset or angry, every time you were being chased, all your resources went into the present moment. But now in 2024, though, we stay angry for days. We stay angry for decades. We can't forgive our brother because he owes me $20 when he was 15 years old. My dad never said he loved me. And people carry that every day. They have 30 years of stress, resentment, and grieving, and denying clarity, and the ability to process this emotion. So that being said, let me talk about sleep first, okay? Sleep is foundational. You cannot be healthy and being a poor sleeper. Poor sleeper, poor healer. Poor sleeper, they end up dying earlier. When I look at my patients, and I know we all have patients, 85, 90, 95, you ask them how well they sleep. Every one of them says great. Where are all the good sleepers? Where are all the bad sleepers? Dead. They leave the planet early. If you want to repair your body, if you want a good joints, if you want a good mind, if you want to turn down inflammation in your brain, you got to elucidate the power of the glymphatic system. The glymphatic system comes in and is 10 to 20 times more active at nighttime. Your body actually is better able to take away beta amyloid plaque and tau tangles, which start building up actually at age 20, 25. So people who don't sleep well have a dirtier brain. The brain has poor nutrition. Okay. How many hours of sleep? It's about 7. 8 is kind of cliche, just like that 8 glasses of water a day. I'm not sure where that came from. Some conference someone spoke at, but it's 7 hours of uninterrupted sleep. So men, you get up at night 2, 3, 4 times a night, you're sabotaging your testosterone. You're lowering your growth hormone. You're undergoing what's called accelerated aging. You got to sleep deeper so your bladder doesn't get you up out of bed. And that way you can go through all those sleep cycles, right? Light, medium, deep, and then REM, rapid eye movement sleep, when the body processes emotion and processes memory. If you have a complicated job, and look at us, complicated job, you need to dream. Dreaming is your brain's desire to process and put things away and compartmentalize things and take things out of your short-term memory, the hippocampus, into the long-term portion, the prefrontal cortex, the crowning glory of the brain, okay? So sleep's important. Managing stress is important. Food is ultra important. People often think, oh, I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to start losing weight. Who cares about weight loss? It's not about weight loss. It's about getting back to your college weight, but lowering your body fat and having more muscle. When you eat a lot of processed food, it puts you into an inflamed state because the body was never meant to have 20, 30, 40 teaspoons of sugar every day. The World Health Organization said 6 teaspoons max, which you blow past with a regular pop. You blow past with a Venti whipped cream coffee. So if you want to live a long time and you want a body that's not inflamed, you need to exercise. You need to eat whole foods. And I look at food in 2 ways, function or hedonism. Food has only 2 functions in your body, healing or pleasure. You eat for pleasure, you will join the ranks of the 70% of North Americans who are overweight. And they are more susceptible to 30 different diseases. 30 different diseases. So cardiovascular disease, stroke, diabetes, dementia, you name it, being overweight. And that's why you got to get back down to your college weight. Forget the Tinder profile. Forget looking good for your Facebook profile. I'm talking about having a good brain. I'm talking about lowering your inflammatory burden. And this is the transformative nature of being healthy. You transform your body, you transform every aspect of your life. It becomes your best friend again. It's better able to help you be your best self. Because exercise scientists have now said one of the best ways to predict a long life is to be a regular exerciser. To be physically active means your body is better able to process emotion. It's better able to makes you more insulin resistant. It turns back on mitochondria that are turned off. We sit 80% of our day. Back in the caveman, cavewoman day, we walked anywhere from 6 to 15 miles a day, hunter-gatherers, tracking food. And what happened was, because we sit all day now, it's a death physiology. The caveman and cavewoman only sat down when there's a lack of food or when death was near. So when you do sit for extended periods of time, more than an hour, your body takes on this physiology of death. It's the shroud of death to sit all day. So we're talking, an Australian study in 2010 said about every 45, 50 minutes, get up and do a stretch. Get up and move those hips around. get that blood flowing to your 3 pounds of crowning glory of who you are, this prefrontal cortex. And how did this brain start growing a million years ago? How did it go from being sloped to this crowning glory? Well, what happened was, back before fire and back before we ate meat, what happened was we grazed all day. Hunter-gatherers, even before this time, we just basically sat and squatted and ate raw weeds and herbs and leaves. We chewed 17, 18 hours a day. We spent all our time doing this. There was no need for a good brain because we didn't move that much. That's why a tree doesn't have a brain, okay? So that being said, when we saw fire, we were able to heat meat and cook it. We basically made food more bioavailable. So what happened was the intestines shrank and our brain grew. Both take a lot of energy. Well, anytime you get food and absorb nutrients in a shorter amount of time, the brain then has more energy to grow. And that's the crowning glory of us, is this prefrontal cortex. Sure, we still have an amygdala. That amygdala is the reptilian brain. That's that fight or flight brain back in the center of your brain. And that only comes in handy when you're angry. But if you don't sleep well, you're more emotionally triggered, because it's when you dream that your body processes emotion. You become a nicer dental professional. People are a bit less able to annoy you. Hey, doc, you had a cancellation. Hey, that's okay. I got to call those few patients back. Instead of like, I can't believe how you're sabotaging my family's existence, you know? So when you sleep well, you start thinking of wisdom. Your body, because the night before has diluted and reframed any memories from the day before, your body's better able to process emotion. Okay, when you sleep, how many hours a night? They're saying about 7 of uninterrupted hours is best. Maybe getting up once or twice is fine, but getting up multiple times a night is not good for your long-term goals as a person, as an adult, as a healthcare provider, okay, as a citizen. As a citizen, think of people now. You know, I think it was, I'm not sure it's Francis Scott Gerald said the definition of intelligence is someone's ability to hold 2 opposing thoughts at the same time, to be able to think 2 opposing ways without being all or nothing. Genius is about being able to hold multiple ideas at the same time and look at global patterns and putting things together. The average Joe, fight or flight, it's like a bull. You know, the bull, you show the red cape and all it can do is attack. The average person who doesn't sleep well, overweight, doesn't exercise, what happens was, all they can go is attack. So their primitive caveman dinosaur brain, the amygdala, is on the alert. Very easy. The minute someone loses their temper, and that's why in sports, a good fighter or athlete always tries to annoy their opponent, because then they forget the drills. They forget planning. They forget the plays. So when you stay calm, when you stay still in the eye of the storm, and that happens because when you exercise fast, interval training, strength training, whatever it is, what happens is cortisol rises. And right away you're thinking, hey, Uche, isn't cortisol bad? Well, no. Cortisol, when you're exercising, is paired with endorphins. You start feeling good. So exercisers, when they're under stress, their body goes, hey, just like, hey, when else are you feeling stress? When you're exercising. So now we're better able to stay still in the eye of the storm. The exerciser is better able to handle crises. And there was a big landmark study in 2011 with firefighters and police officers and first responders. They showed that fit firefighters make better decisions under crisis. And the precept was, or the foundation of that was, because when you exercise, cortisol's up, but also endorphins are up. So when you're under stress, you know, trying to take out a tooth and you hear that little snap, you take a deep breath, you move back in and you expand the socket properly and you get that little root tip out. You're better able to manage things not going well, okay? That's how stress does for you. So stress is good in a way. Stress actually makes you feel alive, and that's that morning cortisol, morning adrenaline that gets you up. That's what gets you up in the morning. But cortisol ramped up throughout the day, cortisol at night is incompatible with melatonin. When you're upset, when you're reviewing your charts, reviewing your day, you know, thinking about what went wrong and not counting your blessings, melatonin's down. When cortisol goes down, so some kind of closed eye guided meditation, listening to Anya, listening to do a gentle yoga, stretching beside the bed, cortisol goes down, melatonin goes up. Melatonin up, and now you can sleep deep, and now you become a good healer, because poor sleepers, poor healers. You know, you ask, you know, I'm sure you all have, you know, 80, 85, 90, 95-year-old patients. I ask them all the time, because success leaves clues, okay? I say, how do you sleep well? They all say they sleep well. Try and find a 95-year-old that doesn't sleep well, or a 101-year-old. They all sleep deep. Where are all the bad sleepers? Dead. You know, bad sleepers die early because their brain doesn't repair. Beta amyloid plaque and tau tangle stayed high. They don't process emotion. They're emotionally triggered till the end, annoying people, not letting people get close to them. Angry attachments. You think of the book Attached, how we relate to it to people. Another seminar. But that being said, I want to make sure that you're able to get all this information in. I think this video is 15 minutes long, so I want to wind it down. I want you to start treating the body carefully. I want you to start treating the body with reverence. When you start treating your body reverently, you don't just dump food in it. You think, is this food serving me or sabotaging me? Hippocrates, the first doctor, 2,300 years ago, said, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. What do you have to heal? What long-term issues are you dealing with chronically? How can you best eat today that serves you? What can you eat after this that'll help bring you towards resolution or still sabotage you? Okay. Hippocrates knew this back, 2,300 years ago, before the microbiome, before the microscope. So somehow, when he said all disease begins in the gut, he realized intuitively, and this is the genius of someone who didn't have the internet, 300 BC, somehow you are what you eat. So if you want to be the healthiest person possible, if you want to be a healthcare provider that looks good and feels good and role models health and exudes energy, and you have people that just say yes to your case presentations and your treatment plans because you look the part. And now that certainty, doubt of patients, people who disbelieve, people who don't know much, it always surrenders to the certainty. You become more certain with the total health perspective. What happens is the unhealthy, which is about 85% of the population, defers to you. And that's where money flows. The money flows to the high energy, fit person. And I welcome that for you and I want that for you. So you treat your body like a high performance race car, a Formula One high performance race car. You deserve to treat your body like a Lamborghini, a Lexus, putting premium fuel in. And we'll talk to you a little bit more later. Uche Odiatu, signing out.